So I want to introduce a new guest we're going to have on this chapter of Adventures in Game Development before he just shows up out of nowhere with crazy hardware shit. You have no idea what he's doing. So we have Tulio here. You might know him as the former president of Watermelon Games, and now he started his new company called To Dream. He's the guy that brought you Pure Solar on the Genesis and Pure Solar HD on the Dreamcast. Yeah, so we're going to have him guesting in this episode and hopefully a bunch more to come because he's been doing a lot of really cool hardware shit, and I've, like, in my free time and on weekends and stuff, not that I have much free time, you know, we've been talking a lot and kind of like throwing ideas back and forth and collaborating on a couple side things. Something I wanted to show you of his work before we like delve into some of the more ES related work is he's been working on something that is absolutely fucking awesome. It is a keyboard for the YMK, forgot what number it was, Genesis FM chip. So this crazy motherfucker has created a synthesizer, a keyboard, trying to find a better view of it, a keyboard using the Sega Genesis's FM chip. He's wired it up with an Arduino, see him playing it right there? And that's being fed straight through the Genesis FM chip, and he has a visualization where you can choose the different instruments, and it's a really fucking cool project. And I've like done a little bit of consulting work on some of the embedded C code for it, and it's just fucking awesome. So that's how we kind of got started talking about stuff like this. He has a channel, you guys should all check it out and subscribe. It's just Tulio Adriano. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your name, man.
I got it zoomed in really good right there, so just pause it and type that in the search bar on YouTube.
Yeah. So subscribe to him because check this shit out. So with this keyboard, he's going back and every so often, not every so often, pretty consistently, he's posting Super Nintendo and other video game music reimagined on the Genesis FM chip. So here's Star Fox, which I swear to God sounds better on the fucking Genesis than it does the Super Nintendo. I listen to this shit when I'm coding. He did this one the other day.
That sounds pretty metal.
Yeah, dude, it sounds fucking metal. This one, I hope you guys know this one. Coming from a Genesis.
That actually sounds about the same.
Yeah, it really does. The harp kind of sounds more deep. This. So yeah, it's really fucking
I think I like the Super Nintendo version better, but that sounds really retro.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Like, I'm surprised again. So yeah, this is just fucking awesome. I'm trying to get him. He also did a Madonna song with the Genesis doing the synthesizer. I'm trying to get him to do a fucking Depeche Mode song, Policy of Truth, with the synthesizer. That'd be so fucking awesome. Dave Gahan and the Genesis together. It'd be like a fucking orgasm. But yeah, so that's what he's been doing with this side project. So basically we're both a bunch of like old school video game nerds with like a hardware fetish. So like one of the things that we've been collaborating more on lately is Elysian VMU. Using like his hardware expertise and his setup, he's actually been helping me. I don't know if you saw last time I was trying to emulate serial over TCP and with the pedo-chow mating. Child pedophilia. Don't worry, it doesn't work yet. But he's been helping out because I have no frame of reference for what the packets are looking like being sent back and forth over serial, you know? So he's actually creating a packet tracer where he's tracing two VMUs connected together, transmitting data, so we're able to cross-reference each other, and it's actually helping me to fix my TCP over serial code. Not only that, but you'll see one of the things that we want to do is to be able to, whether it's through the Raspberry Pi or some other means, have the an actual physical VMU communicate with software EVMU, whether it's to like transfer files between the two to swap from Elysian Shadows Dreamcast or some other homebrew using our technology on Dreamcast to Steam and PC, you know, or just to back up your files. So that's one of the things we're working on. And we have a bunch of other like evil secret hardware plans in mind for like when we can escape from our wives and other things.
Andrewware.
But yeah, I haven't really had much time to work on this lately though because I've been super busy with ES, but it's gonna be sweet and Tulio's about to show you some awesome shit.
So now back to the VMUs. I will turn this thing on again. Get to the file manager. And I'll do the same with another VMU. Alright, this one is already at the file manager, so that's great. So I have a file here, and sorry for this being a little like laid down. That I'm gonna transfer. Let's go back. Yeah, maybe this pure solar saves is a good way to attempt this. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start the transfer process. And I'll say copy. Yes. So now it asks me to connect the VMU, and I'm gonna have to do this. And sorry for the mess. And there we go. Waiting for data. My thing here is, oh, I need to 17, and we just do this 768 the sample rate so that I don't get an error. Sorry guys, this is getting a little messy and I'm having some issues, so I see what's going on. There's hard-coded thing here, so I'm gonna fix this and be right back.
Look, it lets you pick your own mini game.
Aerial
Scrubs beta testing, EVMU. So, alright, anyway, I've been so fucking busy this month with like, I got married, it's been like Black Friday and Thanksgiving. I haven't had too much time to dedicate to EVMU. Maybe I fixed like a couple random bugs. So thank you all for beta testing. You guys actually like found some pretty fucking like legit problems. I don't fucking know. Push A or B.
I'm pressing everything.
This is like Power Stone Mini. How do you shoot? Do you push up?
Oh.
Or do you just avoid it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, thank you guys for beta testing. You can totally still beta test. There's totally still a bunch of bugs that need to be fixed. Hopefully nothing too game breaking. But I appreciate it. It's on the forums. You can get the builds for Mac, Linux, and Windows right now.
Bro, this is like some next gen shit right here.
Fucking next gen HD fucking VMU.
4K quad core processor.
I'm sure that's probably an abbreviation for something, but anyways, I found this Elysian pad over here that I drug onto the scene, and it's got just sort of that dark, sort of synthy 80s kind of like chiptune thing that I love for ES. So I'm going to use that for our death theme. So let me go ahead and start rocking that out, and I'll let you guys know what I come up with.
Okay, so bug fix. There was a hard-coded serial port name here. Now it's actually gonna read from the serial selected on this. I'm gonna go ahead and change the data rate here to about 30 kilobits per second. That should be around here. That should be fine. Let's set that. Let's make sure it got transferred. Okay, 28. Now see. Let's put it on the trigger mode and read. And the VMU actually slept, but I guess it sleep but doesn't sleep. The other one's still waiting for data. So let's start this transfer and see what happens. Okay, it says it's receiving. And here, look at this. Look at all that data being transferred. That's extremely nice to see. Yeah, so that's how it looks. So the communication, and one of the ideas of building this for me is because I wanted to also figure out what's the pinout of the VMUs. It's not very conclusive looking for websites that have that kind of information. So this is nice because it gives me a very clear definition of what each pin is doing based on the data that we analyze. So while I'm trying to entertain you as we just watch for these zeros and ones being transferred here. Hopefully that information is going to be okay. Is it done? Yes, it's done. It says it's copied. So okay, so we have this VMU copy information. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna save that, and let's give it as a name PS VMU date copy. I guess this is good enough. All right, so so now I'm gonna go ahead, restart my app because it's still a work in progress, and I'm gonna go ahead and open that file that I just saved. PSVMU data bus. There you go, and here is our beautiful data. Yep. I believe so here, I hope. All right.
Alright, so you know how I said I've been really busy and I haven't had any time to do anything with the VMU or anything embedded this time? Well, I was fucking full of shit. Well, I didn't have time, but I pulled an all-nighter the other day because what the fuck is an episode of Adventures in Game Development without a new build on some new fucking hardware?
Oh,
so,
damn.
Just because we fucking could and it would be fucking badass, I present to you the Raspberry Pi build of Elysian VMU. So,
well,
this actually supports absolutely everything the desktop build supports. I decided I'm only going to be emulating the core and the core functionality on most platforms, probably like iPhone, Dreamcast, things like that. But I thought this fucker had enough fucking processing power and RAM and stuff to go ahead and try to emulate the entire desktop version. So you can see it actually does have all the toolbars. You can rip the sprites, you can look at the disassembly, all that shit. So this is written as a Qt app just like the desktop build. But unlike the desktop build, this is actually running on top of Raspbian, but this is built in a manner that it's not using the Raspbian OS or anything like that to communicate to the Broadcom drivers. It is directly to the metal. So this could be flashed as a standalone image on the Raspberry Pi. So to demonstrate, let me load a random fucking, well, there's only one ROM on here, Chat Adventure. Why the fuck not? It's a good one.
But a fucking pedophile.
This even actually has the TCP/IP serial emulation on it. So the speed is not 100% right now because, like I said, I am emulating all the other functionality. It's not just the core emulator. Otherwise, it'd be a million FPS. So the keyboard, mouse, all the toolbars and stuff are slowing it down just a bit. I'll have to figure that out, fix it. This does actually support hot swap USB devices just like anything else. Sound works. I don't know if I have sound on this fucking monitor. Analog works. Oh, I do.
Weird.
So yeah, it's a full VMU emulator on the Raspberry Pi, the first ever VMU emulator on it. And so for Christmas, I got Lauren to buy me a fucking 7-inch LCD touchscreen for the Raspberry Pi. What I intend to do with this little fuck is turn it into an actual VMU device with the touchscreen instead of having to hook it to this audacious monitor over HDMI. Is have it as a standalone VMU device with just Wi-Fi, and maybe use the touchscreen for controls, or maybe you can connect an external fucking controller, like I said, but it will support everything else. All the other VMU builds work. You can run Elysian Shadows on Steam and fucking connect it to this as your VMU output device for your screen and all that. So it's going to be pretty cool. Another thing is a friend of mine and I, Tulio, he is working on some hardware level stuff for this. We want to be able to use the GPIO pins to communicate with the virtual EVMU running within here, the software VMU core, and an actual physical VMU device connected to it here through these GPIO pins
Dang.
for battling and trading with a real VMU device, because that'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And because why the fuck not?
Yeah. So, while you play, ES
Yeah.
on your fucking, like, on your computer, I guess,
Yeah.
you could have another device functioning just as the VMU for that specific...
Yes. So you could, on a fucking native Dreamcast controller like this, you play on Dreamcast, this is your screen, so you've got like the game here and extra shit here. So you could have the game on Steam and then use your iPhone, anything else as the screen,
Yeah.
You could set this motherfucker up here, or, I don't know, put your smartphone up here, and that's your VMU device. Or take it with you later for the standalone application. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
gonna be pretty fucking sweet.
good, but sweet.
Okay, it was getting sound. I just didn't have the volume turned up all the way, so here we go. Some nice little breathy effects. Little C major chord here on this. Let's see if we... Nice. Little C minor. C major 7. Very cool. So yeah, we're getting some good sounds out of this. I'm going to horse around with this and see where it goes, and I'll check back in with you guys in a little while as things start to develop. So talk to you guys soon.
Sorry about my constant interruptions. Actually, my battery was going down this time. Anyway, so our VMU data is all here, I can see. So what I did now is basically I selected the program. So I have a means to, okay, yeah, just looking, okay. So, I'm not gonna lie, I already peeked into the data while my phone was recharging. So I'm setting this one as the clock line. So basically this is telling you when there is a bit coming in or not. And down here you will see like this is 111, 0, 1, 0, so on. So let's go ahead here and say analyze clocked line. And oh, look at that. Let's do the well. So here we have basically data that comes from Pure Solar, and I can see all the names. And here they see this big kind of S-shaped thing. I believe this is the icon. I'm not fully familiar with the data on the data format on the VMU yet, but I actually want to learn how the header works, because then I could actually extract this data and build the icon graphics just to look at it, just for the fun of it. So yeah, so that basically shows that it worked. And with that done, all that we have to do now is to get our friend Falco there to be able to receive data from a source like a serial port source. And once he has that implemented, basically I can build an application that will just relay all the data that I got on the VMU directly to the emulator. And once that's done, you can actually transfer data from real VMU to the SVMU and vice versa. So perhaps, let's say you have Elysian Shadows on Dreamcast and on PC, and now your PC went in maintenance. I don't know, for some reason you want to continue playing your game on the PC. You can transfer your data to from a VMU to your PC, player on your PC. You can transfer the data from your PC to your VMU, play the game on a VMU, and keep doing that for as long as you want. It brings in exciting new possibilities, and this is great. I mean, I'm very, that's why I've been so crazy about this, and I decided to record a video, and Falco puts this on Adventures in Game Development. It's gonna be an honor for me to be featuring in that. So that's all for now, and hopefully when we have more progress as far as the actual communication between hardware and software, we'll come back and show you the news. All right, that's all for now. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the fucking Raspberry Pi build actually means for Elysian Shadows. Because to get EVMU running on the Raspberry Pi, EVMU is using the libgyro framework that I wrote, which is a multi-platform API abstraction layer for getting multimedia, sound inputs, debugging, fucking video, graphics, all that kind of stuff on every platform. So that means libgyro is now running on here, which means Elysian Shadows is coming to the Raspberry Pi too. So stay fucking tuned. I'll talk a little bit about the implementation for those of you who are as fucking nerdy as I am and care about low-level shit. So basically what we have is another libgyro platform that's being supported, but the Raspberry Pi is so fucking similar to a bunch of the other platforms that it was actually exceptionally easy to get this shit running on the Raspberry Pi. So, hey man. So you can see here, these are the different platforms supported by libgyro. This is the platform header file, have them defined. I have another Raspberry Pi platform defined, and these are the platform specific includes and like kind of definitions for that platform. One thing you'll see is that this is using the OpenGL ES 2.0 version of the renderer, which I had to have working already for older iPhone and Android phones and the Ouya. Thank fucking God we're at 3.0 with the newer technology with like the iPhone and hopefully the Razer Forge TV, because I fucking hate ES 2.0, but luckily it's still there, so that's how this works. It's using OpenAL for audio. It's using SDL for input and for joystick and haptic rumble support and things like that. And this motherfucker is actually assembly optimized for math and vector routines with the same assembly code I wrote for the Ouya and the iPhone and the Android, because they're all using an ARM core. So it's hardware accelerated with the ARM Neon instructions for vector mathematical operations and shit like that. So yeah, this bitch is assembly optimized. So actually, it took very little work because it's already an ARM processor and it already supports OpenGL ES2. So yeah, it looks fucking sweet, but I didn't do all that much because my code was pristine.
Well,
as I said before, I'm going to go ahead and use the Elysian Shadows theme throughout the rest of the game as well, different parts of the game. So what we have here in this little guy, go ahead and play it for you. Start it from the beginning here. It's just sort of a B flat that's sitting there arpeggiating through that those different sort of tones that come native with the sort of default sound there. But what I'm gonna do, and by the way, the B flat is sort of the tonic or the root of the theme song. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just go ahead and stop this guy. I'm going to add in my next layer, and if you can take a look here, I'll tab over. Remember how I showed you that I've got two different MIDI tracks sitting here? I went ahead and disarmed this one and armed this guy, and we've got what's called a glass filter on this, and this happens to be sort of like a breathy sound, and I'll play that for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on top of the track that we have going on here. And this will be sort of your first little view about what tracks are all about. So go ahead and stop that, and now we're going to record it from the beginning here with that same B flat, but with a breath this time. And I'm going to let that roll off. About halfway through, right about now, I'm going to go ahead and let that start crescendoing to the end here, and let it kind of cascade out with the rest of the sound. Okay, so we've got ourselves the beginnings of the death track, which I'll probably just loop, because who likes to sit there and listen to death music, let's be honest. Usually you're in a pretty pissed off state at that point, so it's just going to be sort of this tightly looped sound, so that it's not irritating, mind you, but it's also short and sweet. So I'll let you know what we come up with. Here we go.
So what this means for our workflow is, like I was saying before, I wanted to use the Raspberry Pi to build the Dreamcast node and turn it on and off through fucking the GPIO pins. And I showed you that circuitry last time, and hopefully I'll finish it next time. But since it's also now building for itself standalone, I've incorporated that into our build server. So now every time I commit EVMU and in a very short while Elysian Shadows, you'll see that I have the fucking Linux server here, the Mac Pro here, a Windows VirtualBox running there for Windows build, and now the Raspberry Pi is a remote Jenkins build node here. So every time I push EVMU for Raspberry Pi, you can see that's when it wasn't working yet.
Raspberry Pi?
Yeah, I named it Raspberry Pi on the network. So yeah, you can see it's shitting out a build. So this build is already available if any of you have Raspberry Pis. It should run on the Pi 2, I would think. I have a Pi 3. It's already a tiny bit laggy on Pi 3. I need to tweak some shit with the GUI environment. So I don't know how it will work on the Pi 2, let me know. But if you go to our forums in the Elysian Shadows thread, there is a link for testing EVMU. In the Dropbox, it will look like Elysian VMU. You'll see this folder. There's a text file called README Fuckers, which will explain shit to you. There's a folder called ROMs, and then you'll see that there is a Debian build for Linux, Mac build, Windows 32-bit build, and now there's a Raspberry Pi build, which is ready to go. Just transfer it over to your Pi. It's been tested on Raspbian, but I think it will actually work on Debian. I'm not fucking positive, but I thought Raspbian was a derivative of that. Someone will have to let me know, but yeah, it's good to go. You can already start beta testing.
So you've just incorporated the Raspberry into the system.
Yes, the Raspberry has been fully incorporated into the fucking system. That is exactly what that means.
Man, that chow has been running like endlessly.
Actually, it's running pretty well. Maybe I was doing something on the server with the Raspberry Pi. Maybe it was building something. Okay. I have to look at it.
And this like little sound with it. So let's hear how the whole thing sounds, and I might, change the levels on these to make certain sounds pop out more, but you'll see that in the final product. So let's check out what we got so far. Okay. So once again, on this breathy sound, there it is right there. The gloss filtered. I don't know why it's spelled with one S. I'm sure that's, again, some kind of foreign language or abbreviation for something that I'm just not picking up on because I'm a little slow today. But anyways, let's go ahead and do what I showed you last time, which is insert yet another little MIDI clip on the end of this just to kind of give it that tailoring off that we're looking for. And I'll do that here in a bit. But so there's that. That's what we got so far, and I'll check back in as things develop.
All right, so yeah, so I have to show it to you guys. So what happened is that I'm still working on Alexios, but take a look at, well, I'll bring the camera closer. So look what the fuck happened with Julian. Like he's fucking full of holes, and that's because what I did is I updated shit. Yeah. So what I did is that on in Git I updated the spines. Either one of the so normally when I update spine I need to update 3 files. One of them is PNG, skeleton.png, which is all of the graphical assets. Second one is skeleton.atlas, and this is the coordinate data of all of the graphic assets on this giant PNG. So I can tell that the pixel, like let's say the part from pixel 0 horizontally to 12 and 0 vertically to 10 is, let's say, an ankle or something like that, right? Obviously that would be giant as ankle, but that's besides the point. And that's the second. And the third one, which is skeleton.json, is the actual animations. So this, what happens is when I update one of the files, one of the Atlas files, and not the other. So I need to fix it right now. But it's looking hilarious. Like the Julian is full of holes, and as I walk, it's only better. Like there is some meat sticking out of his leg. Like I don't even know. It's fucking amazing. When I walk sideways, there is just like part of a skirt. It's glorious. So I just wanted to show you this, guys.
And added this here piano and this nice low register stuff. Man, I gotta wash my keyboard. That's nasty. I'm not sure what that is even. It's probably several sneezes and other things that kind of collected there. Pretty nasty. But anyways, I'm not afraid of my own stuff. So let's go ahead and let's strike the key, see what's going down. So that's kind of what I just added in here. This nice lower register B flat to really set off the depressing tone. I mean, because let's face it, right? You get to the end of a dungeon, you get beat up by some bitch-ass monster that you took for granted. Is there anything worse than that? Losing all your progress throughout the dungeon, that kind of thing. So I really want to sort of key in on that emotion. So let's see how it sounds all together. Cool. So yeah, it's going to be short and sweet, right? It's going to play once. I don't know that I'm going to loop it. Probably not, actually. It just plays one time, let you know you fucked up, you're dead. Chances are you're not going to hang out on that game over, sort of we're all dead scene for too long anyways before rinse, washing, repeating, right? Hopefully not repeating all the way up to the point of death, but you get what I'm saying. So there's that. Nice lower register pianos in there, really just kind of setting the tone, laying that bass line down and making it sound all super sexy and epically dark. So there we go. More to come later.
So I need the community's help, so fucking listen up, everyone. You might notice in EVMU what I'm not doing is the VMU has a bunch of other features, different modes on the bottom. I'm only emulating game mode, right? So it has file mode, game mode, clock mode, and it does more shit. Basically, this is the built-in shit that Sega has built into the VMU. Now, there are rips of the BIOS image on the net, right? That's cool and all. But the problem is, to emulate the BIOS, there are two assembly opcodes which are completely fucking undocumented anywhere I've ever seen online or in the Dreamcast community. So I've been completely unable to figure out these two fucking opcodes. And not only that, it's probably using a bunch of special function registers Sega didn't want you to know about, so it's not available to you at the application level. So they didn't document it. And I don't know the entry points into the code for the BIOS. There's one guy I have ever fucking seen who has emulated the BIOS successfully. He did it on the fucking, the original DS. Apparently the performance wasn't so good or whatever, but it's fucking sweet. He did emulate it. If you look at his blog, what he did is he wrote a little program and distributed it to a shitload of people where they were basically pushing up and down to select different memory addresses and pushing A, like thousands of memory addresses, just trying them out to see if it was the correct entry point. So he has this data, right? I have messaged him, dude, is there any way you can fucking share this with me? I'll put you on the credits. Like, this is trying to help out the Dreamcast scene, all that. And he either fucking hates me or he's not gotten back to me. The only way I have known to contact him has been right here on his live journal. Can you like zoom in on this so they can see it? So this dude is dknuke.livejournal.com, DUNIN. If someone can contact this guy or find a good way to contact him about emulation of the BIOS, then we'll have full emulation on EVMU and all the different platforms and everything. And obviously this dude will get credit for whatever he figured out with the BIOS entry points and all that. So I don't know if he just didn't get my email, or not email, because I just sent a message on his live journal or whatever, but we got to figure out a fucking way to contact this guy, right? Another fucking thing that we need to contact, so that's dude number one for BIOS emulation. Now this shit is fucking badass. There is a language someone wrote, I think in like 1998, or last update was 2001, called VMU script. It's a compiler for the VMU. It's primitive. and it lets you write scripts that are not written in fucking 8-bit VMU assembly. So that makes things significantly easier. And I know people who have made actually really impressive programs for the VMU using VMU script, including my friend Tulio at Watermelon. Their developer actually developed their entire VMU game using this VMU script, which there is no source code for. The executable binary only runs on like fucking ancient Windows 98 or something, so he had to like emulate Windows or something to use it, and he still had to modify the outputted assembly a little bit because of bugs. If we can find, look at this dude, VMUscript.8, oh fuck, the Chow got in a battle. Whatever, he's gonna fucking die. VMUscript.8m.com. There's one fucking email address right here. I emailed him, it bounces back, could not be found. Someone find whoever the fuck this guy is now and figure out, does he still have the VMU script source code? Can he hook a brother up? We can integrate it within Elysian VMU, and that will make VMU development so much easier for people who don't necessarily know assembly. So help me figure out the fucking VMU scripts guy, get a hold of him, get VMU script, and help me figure out how the fuck to get a hold of DUnit so we can get the complete BIOS emulated. Dude. Please, someone with connections. Yeah, the fucking Chow's dying. Don't let the Chows die, help us.
Excited because I got all my goals for this month done a little early, which means I get to go practice the hell out of my music by copying some of the greats. So going off and looking at some of the other awesome songs that are out there in terms of movie composers, video game composers, some of my idols, that kind of thing. And that way I can get deeper into this guy actually playing the keyboard and becoming a better artist and changing up time signatures and messing with the circle of fifths and really kind of just digging into the music side of things. Anyways, one of my previous clips I had the death song being played. This is the death song that I got kind of going here, so let's roll with it. Okay, couple things. I was changing this while not taking video of what I was doing, and I thought I would just go back in, shoot a video so you can guys see what's going on. So this da 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 da. So that little section there, I'd like for it to stand out a little bit more. So what could we do? Let's try a couple things. So if we highlight these guys like so. Grab all those guys. I'm just make sure I got them. Oh, okay. Yep, there was one hiding down there. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to put the camera down for a second while I grab that. Okay, I think I got them all this time. Awesome. What I can do now, since this is MIDI data, it's nothing more than just bit representations of music, so now I can just move it around however I want. Let's try a couple things. Down here, you'll notice that there's the velocity. Right, this is how loud each sound is. Looks like it's pretty well maxed out at this point, but you can tell because of the way I played it on the keyboard, the velocities are slightly different, but pretty much the same for the most part. Went ahead and dragged those up to the maximum value. Let's see if that makes any tangible difference at all. No, I'm still kind of getting lost. Okay, so what I'd like to do instead is I'm going to Control Z. Yes, I said Z. Control Z that bad boy, and what I'm do instead, wow, that just got ultra bright for no reason.
Alright, so to understand why this it's free it's 3:50 a.m. middle of the night. I'm going to sleep. But something funny just happened. To explain why it's funny, you first need to understand our folder structure within Git. So we have the entire game, which is, there's an audio folder, fonts, graphics, levels, etc. And in graphics, we have our objects or animations, right? Also, within them, we have also our humans and our naked placeholder human and Julian. separately from this, we also have something which is called artist file backup, which is all of my spine and all of my Photoshop files, as well as the PNG exports of them that I'm working on. And these are for archivization's sake. So, and this is a blessing that I've been talking about this time and time again, that I will be forever thankful to Falco that he finally convinced me to put my art files into Git, because it saved my ass a lot of times from really horrible mistakes. So recently I've been on a spree of making skins, making other characters for Julian's skeleton. So I made Rand, I made Alexios, and you'll saw them in the, or will see in this chapter. I don't know how it took place, whatever. But the guys really wanted me to make Eren, which I call Eren because I'm a retard. It's Eren with Y, and I need to remember that. And I was like, well, guys, it's a different skeleton. It's a different, because she's a woman and Julian's a man, and I'm making all of the man's animations on man's skeleton. I would need to separate the file. Like there is a lot more work to make Eren than to make just another guy. But Falco was like, dude, we need Eren because she's our first playable party member except Julian. So we need her for the demo. It's in the beginning of the game. We fucking need this. And I'm like, all right. You know what I will do? I will just implement, because I vaguely remember making Eren's sprites. I remember having her art assets done. So I was like, yeah, let me just implement her as a skin to Julian. It's gonna work somehow, whatever. It's gonna be as if you try to stretch a woman's body on man's skeleton, and it's gonna be hideous, but pixel art, maybe it's not gonna be. So I'm going. So I'm like, all right, let me do this for you, Falco. So we're gonna have Eren at least for testing purposes. So I'm going to my pixel art, and obviously Eren is not in the graphics, right? So I'm going to my artist file backup, which is a folder that only I go to. Falco doesn't really bother about it, because why would he? It's like my source code, but for us, right? So and I go to my spine files for some unknown reason. I went to spine instead of pixel art, but whatever. And I see, oh yeah, there is a Eren, by the way, misspelled Eren file. I'm like, huh. In case you can you see it on this? Yeah, you cannot see it. So and I'm seeing here a massive folder of ready cut parts, and most importantly, a spine file. I'm like, huh. Why is there a spine file in this folder? Because that will indicate that there is a skeleton on animations. Let me open that. Huh. There's a skeleton of her. Oh, is that Dawn? Yeah, and I'm like, huh. And I'm like, alright, and I'm just checking the animations, and the animations are looking correctly, even though it's a female skeleton. So it's clearly a female skeleton. It's clearly adjusted, because I remember there being an issue with man skeleton. Well, fuck me sideways, it's been done. And there was this huge fight with, whether I should do or should not do it. And I'm like, to just add salt to the injury, I'm like, let me check how old the files are. Because, and it's from a year ago. Well, fuck. So turns out this whole time we had Eren down. Obviously, and then obviously the problem now is that she doesn't have all of the additional animations and improvements that I did on Julian's skeleton. There is a talking animation, there is a bunch of other animations. So by the end of the day, I will still have to add I will still have to add new animations to men's skeleton, and then copy it and change the men's skeleton to a woman's skeleton. But that's besides the point. We at least have pristinely looking Eren's animations, so think, oh, we have now 4 playable characters that I done within 3 days. Well, one was done a year ago, so 2 days. Huh? I'm just like, I know I'm rambling because it's like 4 a.m., but it was funny to me.
What I'm going to do instead is I've got all these guys highlighted. I'm going to hop up in here, all up in here. Looks like I'm on, looks like a B flat there. Is my top notes. What I'm going to, well, actually, it's not my top note, it's my first note. But anyways, I'm going to copy and paste these in such a manner that I don't disturb what I have going on here. So I'm going to kind of scroll over. Like I said, it's hard to do this one-handed. Control V. Awesome, there's my notes. I'd like to go ahead and drag these up. You can kind of, whoa, let's not go into the negative territory. So there's my starting note. I'm going to go ahead and rock this out an octave higher. And something around that neck of the woods. Looks like I'm starting a little after where I should be. So let's go ahead and grab that. And somewhere, a little too early now. Something like that ought to get it done. Yeah. So now let's play it again, but this time we've got a kind of octaves separated by octaves here, so it should stand out a little bit more. Maybe it stands out too much. Who knows? Let's try it out. Yeah, I'm digging it. I like that a lot better, actually. It stands out. And for any of you who are paying attention, that's just the main theme of ES that played in the previous AiGD. So, da 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 da. It's that same theme, but played a little slower and more legato and more sad and tragic and whatever's fitting of dying, right? Okay, so there's that. I think I'm going to roll with this. If I do end up changing something, I will definitely shoot it.
Okay.
Why is...
Okay,
Alright,
so Tulio from Watermelon, yeah, just play it.
Yeah.
Tulio from Watermelon was nice enough to send me their Pier Solar VMU minigame, because it's really fucking advanced. They've got basically like Wolfenstein fucking 3D going on in here. 3D VMU game. So one thing I did not take into account, you can see it's fucking flickering its ass off. Some crazy fuckers on the VMU are actually emulating grayscale and more colors than just black and white by quickly toggling the pixel on and off at different rates to make it look gray. Because on the VMU screen, when a pixel turns on and then off, it takes a minute for the pixel to dim. It's called pixel ghosting. And I'm not emulating that. In EVMU, it's fucking instant on and off. But on the actual LCD crystal display, it's like fucking slow and like latent to turn off. So this actually looks gray on the fucking VMU itself. So yeah, I need to implement pixel ghosting, and then this would be fucking awesome. That is a fucking 3D VMU game, scrub.
You should put a freaking epilepsy warning on this thing.
Yeah, it'll be like under emulation. You'll be able to enable ghosting like that to code and test this. This game was actually written using VMU script, which is why we need to fucking contact that guy, because, I mean, it's obviously very capable. This is pretty damn technically impressive, and it's awesome.
This is actually pretty sweet.
So yeah, I gotta do.
New game.
I was like, yeah, I can't wait to run your ROM. Oh, fuck, it looks like shit. Let me get on that.
Ah.
In my defense, I don't know any other emulators that actually emulate that.
Something else I wanted to change, and it was these guys. Do, right? The ones at the very end that kind of trail off and give that ominous sort of, oh man, something really bad happened. So what I'm going to do is highlight those, and like I showed you before, we're going to change the velocity on some of these. Let's change the velocity on only those guys down there. You see that? And go ahead and grab those, and they come up together. So what we'll have to do, kind of fiddle with these one at a time until they sound the same. Okay, so let's grab you. Being a punk over here, looking pretty even here. Don't care if it's perfect. Music is not perfect. It's in spite of what we try to do to it once it gets to the computer. So there's that. Let's give that a shot. Looking for those to stand out a little bit more. Okay, for some reason that top note, this guy here, the one that's highlighted actually, is not quite doing what I want it to do. It's being a little ass. So, what I'm going to do is drag you up to a little higher, see if that doesn't stand out a little bit more. It's just getting caught in sort of the chords of the other notes that are in the same sort of like wavelength range, right? Just kind of happens in music. It gets buried sometimes. I think the essence of it's still there, and I think the point gets across, so I'm going to just go ahead and say that's good enough, and that's a wrap for the death song. Again, nothing repeating, nothing super annoying, right? It's already annoying enough to die. You're probably pissed off anyway that it happened. I'm not here to make that experience worse. So there it is. There we have it. It's a wrap.
Alright, so I'm going to explain the reason why we have a metric shit ton different controllers over here. I've been working on the input API for libgyro, which is the shared framework for all the different platforms. So this controller API has to be really versatile because it's going to be working on the Dreamcast, where, you know, and consoles that use controllers primarily. It has to work on the PC with the mouse and keyboard. Ouya and Razer TV actually let you use USB controllers and mice and keyboard and stuff. So in this controller API, I'm even treating the keyboard itself as a plug-and-play device. So even on the Dreamcast over here, I can plug in the Dreamcast keyboard and it detects. And same with the Razer and Ouya and stuff like that. So it treats everything as a plug-and-play. So I'm playing the level. You can hear Jeremy's beautiful background music. Let me turn that up a bit because it sounds so good. So, you know, okay, you can walk around with what the fuck is going on?
Same thing again. I think it thinks the other one's Julian.
Does it fucking really? Alright, that's a fuck up. That's a mistake. I actually copied and pasted a bunch of entities, and I copy pasted the characters. That's a fake character. It's not a real character, whatever. So of course, you know, the keyboard works and all that. And before I go into any more detail, notice that Julian now is fully 100% spine based. So he's using skeletal animations. He looks nothing like the shitty old Julian that we used to have, which was purely sprite sheet based. So now he can have complex different moves and things like that. Shit, wrong key. You can draw the sword. You notice the sword is actually on his back. Otherwise, so weapons will be showing up in ES. You can see he can push different objects and interact with them now. See him pushing the barrel? I didn't realize the other barrels aren't even solid. He can pick them up, throw them at enemies, stuff like that. We also implemented a Smash Bros. Style dash. I forgot what key. Okay, jump, of course. We're going to have a jump dash. So it's going to have a lot of platforming mechanics. But anyway, so that's not really what I'm here to show right now. So here's a Xbox 360 controller, for example. Let me pop the debug log so you can see what I'm even talking about. Here's the debug console where all of the debug from the engine is redirected. When I plug this bitch in, it should be, alright, SDL joystick attached. libgyro is using SDL on the PC build, so it's telling you Xbox 360 wired controller, the number of axes, haptic support. So we're also going to have rumble support, so if you fucking throw a barrel at someone and it'll detect their point of contact and make the controller rumble in 3D. We're going to have to emulate that on Dreamcast, but we're also going to be supporting the Dreamcast Rumble Pack, which, here. Puru pack on Dreamcast. It can do that too. But here's a rundown of the controls right now. Movement is analog based, and when I say analog, I don't mean that we're just mapping the D-pad to it. You'll notice that it's pressure sensitive. There's Julian walking, like so as not to aggro people. The more you press, the harder he runs. He moves in a full 100 360 degrees. If you hold L, that toggles strafing. Now strafing is going to be useful for ranged attacks. Like if you're shooting fireballs at people and shit like that, you'll want to strafe to be able to hit them while you're doing that. There's jump, there's dash, which is like Smash Bros, double tapping. Picking up object, or unsheathing is X. Slashing is B, so you can go up and slash. These are just test motherfuckers that I was playing with, so their HP's like really fucking low and it wouldn't be this easy to kill them, but so I just killed that fucking asshole. Killed that asshole for 3 EXP. Killed another asshole for 3 EXP, and I think this one will be the, okay, so that asshole just leveled me up. Let's see, you can also pick up and throw objects, although I don't remember what the fuck key I'm picking up to. I think it's the R, yeah, R trigger. So you can see with spine animations, Julian's arms are actually around the barrel, so we're gonna be able to represent everything like, yeah, that's a bug right now, I'm working on it. When you face forward while you're holding an item, it completely disappears. But we're able to do a shitload of things that sprite-based entities can't do. Also, you should be able to see that in real time I can plug in like a PS3 controller. Should also detect, yeah, controller detected. It would also do the same if I plugged in another keyboard, so if you really wanted to play with a bunch of fucking keyboards, you could. I have this debug functionality here, so engine. You can do texture dump, audio dump, see what's currently loaded, so I can do input device dump, and it will dump everything that libgyro has detected as an input device. You can see it's detected the keyboard, mouse, and the controllers. 4 ports are supported on every platform, which is basically we're going by the Dreamcast standard and how many ports it has. So that's how we're maintaining that. And that's about it. So this, see it with the sample cutscene here, assets level examples, this will open up the actual level within the toolkit. This is a special type of hyperlink. Look, when I click it, it opens in the toolkit as a level. Fuck, or it just crashes because it doesn't. Oh shit, you can't do that when you don't have a project open. Well, cut that.
Well.
Good? Alright.
Yeah.
So there are 2 main... Alright, let's actually start over. I shouldn't say.
You see, children, if you don't pay attention in math class, you won't understand what any of this shit actually means. Stay in school, kids. Hey, Narcissa. What you doing?